Captain Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the battleship Iron Resolve, watching the stars through the main viewing screen. The ship moved slowly through empty space in the outer edge of the solar system. Everything seemed normal until the sensors started beeping. "Captain, we have something on long-range sensors," said Lieutenant So-young from her position at the tactical station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as she tried to get a better reading. "It's a ship, sir. Unknown design." Hyunwoo walked over to look at her screen. The object was big, maybe half the size of their own battleship. It had a strange shape with curves and smooth lines that looked nothing like human ships. "How long until they reach us?" "They're not moving toward us, sir," So-young replied. "They seem to be staying in one place, but Captain, they're scanning us." Navigator Taemin turned around in his chair. "I can confirm that, sir. Some kind of energy beam is hitting our hull. It's not dangerous, just looking at us." Communications Officer Ji-hai spoke up from her station. "Should I try to make contact, Captain?" Hyunwoo thought for a moment. This was it. After hundreds of years of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, they had finally found another intelligent species. "Not yet. Let's see what they want first. Keep monitoring their scans." Far away, on the alien ship called Serenity's Edge, Commander Velthar was having similar thoughts. His ship belonged to the Galactic Federation, a group of different alien species that worked together. They had been exploring this part of space for weeks, looking for new planets or resources. "Commander," said his science officer, "we have found something interesting. There's a ship out there." Velthar's skin changed color slightly, which showed he was curious. His species, the Nexari, could change colors to show their feelings. "What kind of ship?" "Unknown design, sir. It's made of metals we don't recognize. The shape is very different from any Federation ship." "Scan it completely," Velthar ordered. "Use the deep scanners. I want to know everything about it." The Nexari had the best scanning technology in the galaxy. Their deep scanners could look through any material and tell them exactly what something was made of, how it worked, and even what the people inside were like. It usually took only a few minutes to learn everything about a ship. Back on the Iron Resolve, Chief Engineer Dong Hyun called the bridge from the engine room. "Captain, these aliens are scanning us pretty hard. Their technology is interesting, but not very advanced. The scan barely got through our outer armor." Hyunwoo raised an eyebrow. Human armor was considered basic protection, nothing special. If alien scanners couldn't get through it easily, maybe these aliens weren't as advanced as he had expected. "Keep monitoring, Dong-hyun. Let me know if anything changes." On the alien ship, Science Officer Kethara stared at her instruments with growing confusion. The deep scan should have been finished by now, but the readings made no sense. According to her instruments, the human ship was impossible. "Commander," she called out, her voice shaking slightly, "you need to see this." Velthar walked over to her station. "What did you find?" "Sir, this ship, it can't exist. Look at these readings." She pointed to her screen. "The hull is made of materials that are theoretical only. We've never seen anything like it. And the power source. What about the power source? Its reading is a controlled star, sir. A tiny star inside their ship, giving them more power than our biggest space stations." Velthar felt his skin turn pale blue, the Nexari color for fear. "That's impossible. No ship can control stellar fusion. The technology doesn't exist." "There's more, Commander. Their weapons." Kethara's voice got even quieter. "The computer says they have kinetic weapons that can fire projectiles at 15% of light speed. That's faster than our fastest missiles." "Show me their defensive systems." Kethara pressed a few buttons and new information appeared on the screen. "Metamaterial armor, sir. The kind that can bend space around itself, and energy shields that can absorb anything we throw at them. According to this, our strongest weapons would barely scratch their paint." Velthar was quiet for a long moment. Everything they were seeing went against what they knew about technology and physics. No species in the galaxy had weapons or defenses this advanced. "Are you sure the scanners are working correctly?" "I've checked them 3 times, sir. Everything is working perfectly," Commander, there's something else. I tried to scan the life forms inside their ship, and they're not like any species we know. They have incredible physical strength, healing abilities that seem almost magical, and brains that can process information faster than our computers. Sir, these beings are built for war. Meanwhile, on the human ship, the crew was going about their normal duties. Medical Officer Hana was treating a crew member who had hurt his hand during maintenance. Chef Minho was preparing lunch for the day shift. None of them knew that their simple presence had terrified the most advanced scanning technology in the galaxy. Captain, So Young said, the alien ship is powering up its engines. I think they might be preparing to leave. Hyunwoo nodded. Ji-hee, try to contact them. Use the universal math signals we prepared for first contact. Ji-hee began broadcasting mathematical sequences, starting with prime numbers and moving on to basic physics constants. It was humanity's best guess at how to communicate with aliens. On the Serenity's edge, the communications officer detected the human transmission. Commander, they're trying to talk to us. Mathematical sequences, very basic. Velthar was no longer paying attention to communications. He was looking at the complete scan results, and what he saw made his blood turn cold. These humans weren't just advanced, they were so far beyond anything in the galaxy that they might as well be gods. Send an emergency message to Federation Command, he ordered. Priority 1. Tell them we've found something they need to know about immediately. What should I tell them, sir? Velthar looked at the human ship on his screen. It looked peaceful. Enough, but now he knew what it was really capable of. Tell them we found the apex predators. The message was sent across the galaxy at faster than light speed. Within hours, every major species in the Galactic Federation would know that humanity existed, and they would all be very, very afraid. On the Iron Resolve, Captain Hyunwoo was still waiting for a response to their peaceful greeting, not knowing that their simple existence had just changed the galaxy forever. Science Officer Kethara had been studying alien technology for over 20 years. She thought she had seen everything the galaxy could offer, but the readings from the human ship made her question everything she knew about science. She ran the deep scan for the 4th time, hoping the results would change. They didn't. The human battleship still showed impossible readings that broke every rule of physics she had learned. Computer, verify scan results, she said to the ship's artificial intelligence. Scan results verified. All systems functioning normally, the computer replied in its calm voice. Kethara felt sick. If the scans were correct, then the humans had technology that was thousands of years ahead of anything in the galaxy. She pressed the communication button to call Commander Velthar. Commander, please come to the science station immediately. We have a problem. Velthar arrived within minutes, his skin showing the dark blue color that meant he was worried. What have you found? Sir, I've completed the full scan of the human vessel. The results are disturbing. She brought up the data on the main screen. Look at their hull construction. The screen showed a detailed view of the human ship's armor. This material doesn't exist in our databases. It's some kind of metal that can repair itself and change its properties depending on what hits it. Our strongest weapons would bounce, off like toys. Show me their power systems, Velthar ordered. Kethara switched to a new display. This is where it gets really scary, sir. They have a fusion reactor that's creating the same energy as a small star. The power output is more than our entire fleet produces. Velthar stared at the numbers. Each digit seemed impossible. How is that possible? Fusion reactors that powerful would destroy any ship. Not this ship, sir. Look at their internal structure. The screen changed again. Everything inside is built to handle massive forces. The crew areas have gravity control that can change from 0 to 10 times normal gravity in seconds. Their engine room can survive direct hits from antimatter weapons. What about their weapons? Kethara's skin turned pale as she brought up the weapons data. This is the worst part. They have kinetic cannons that fire metal slugs at 15% light speed. Each shot has more energy than our biggest missiles. And they have hundreds of these weapons. That's not possible, Velthar said, but his voice wasn't confident. No ship can accelerate projectiles that fast. There's more. Sir, they also have energy weapons that use focused gravity waves. I don't even understand how they work. And their missile system..." She paused, looking at the data again. "Their missiles can change direction faster than our fighters. Each one has its own tiny computer brain that's smarter than our navigation systems." Meanwhile, on the Iron Resolve, Chief Engineer Dong Hyun was having a very different conversation with Captain Hyun-woo. "Captain, I've finished analyzing their scanning beam," Dong Hyun said over the communication system. "It's pretty basic stuff, like something we might have built 50 years ago." "What do you mean?" Hyun-woo asked. "Well, sir, they're using simple electromagnetic waves to look at our hull. The beam couldn't penetrate past our ablative armor. They probably can't see anything important about our ship." Hyun-woo nodded. "Human armor was standard protection, nothing special. Every human ship had it." "Can you tell anything about their technology?" "From what I can see, they're maybe 100 years behind us, sir. Their power systems look like early fusion drives. Pretty primitive." Back on the alien ship, Cathera was showing Velthar the biological scan results. "Commander, the life forms inside that ship are just as impossible as their technology." "What do you mean?" "I mean they're built like living weapons, sir. Look at their physical capabilities." The screen showed a breakdown of human biology. They can survive in environments that would kill most species. Their bones are stronger than some metals. Their muscles can produce force that seems impossible. For their size, how do they compare to us? "Sir, an average human is about 5 times stronger than an average Nexari. They can run faster, jump higher, and their reaction time is incredible. But that's not the scary part." "What's the scary part?" "Their brains, sir. Human brains can process information faster than our computers. They can make complex decisions in milliseconds. And they have something called adrenaline that makes them even faster and stronger when they're in danger." Velthar was quiet for a moment. "How do they compare to other Federation species?" Cathara checked her database. "Better than all of them, sir. Humans are stronger than the Krex warriors, faster than the Zephyr pilots, and smarter than the ethereal collective minds. They're like someone took the best traits from every species and put them into one being." "Are they a warrior race?" "I don't think so, sir. The scan shows they have incredible diversity in their activities. Some are scientists, some are artists, some are farmers. But even their civilians have physical capabilities that match our best soldiers." On the human ship, Navigator Taimin was tracking the alien vessel's movements. "Captain, the alien ship has been sitting in the same position for 2 hours. They keep scanning us, but they won't respond to our communications. Maybe they're trying to figure out how to talk to us," Captain Hyun-woo suggested. "Keep broadcasting the mathematical sequences." Communications Officer Ji-hai nodded. "Yes, sir. I'm also trying some basic pictographs. Maybe they'll understand pictures better than numbers." None of the humans knew that their peaceful attempts at communication were being seen as potential threats by the aliens. Every transmission was being analyzed for hidden meanings or secret codes. Commander Velthar was reading the final scan results when his communications officer called out. "Commander, we have an incoming message from Federation." "Command, Priority Alpha. Put it through." The main screen changed to show Fleet Admiral Zontar, the highest-ranking military officer in the Federation. His species, the Coraxians, were known for their calm minds and strategic thinking. But today, he looked worried. "Commander Velthar, we received your emergency transmission. Are you certain about these scan results?" "Yes, sir. I've had my science officer verify them multiple times. The human ship is beyond anything we've ever encountered." Admiral Zontar was quiet for a moment. "Commander, I'm sending a fleet to your location. Do not engage the humans under any circumstances. Do not let them know you're afraid. Just keep monitoring them until help arrives." "Sir, how big a fleet?" "Every ship we can spare. If these humans are as dangerous as your scans suggest, we may need to consider them a threat to the entire galaxy." The transmission ended, leaving Velthar alone with his thoughts. He looked at the human ship on his screen. It looked peaceful, almost elegant. But now he knew what it really was, a weapon of war that could destroy his entire civilization without effort. Far away, emergency messages were being sent to every corner of the galaxy. The Galactic Federation was calling for an emergency meeting. Ancient species that hadn't been seen for centuries were being contacted. Everyone needed to know about the humans. On the Iron Resolve, the crew continued their normal duties, completely unaware that their simple presence had started the biggest crisis in galactic history. The emergency message from Commander Velthar spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Within 6 hours, every major species in the Galactic Federation had received the terrifying scan data about the human battleship. On the planet Corax Prime, Fleet Admiral Zontar stood in the emergency command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the deployment of Federation fleets. The normally calm Coraxian was struggling to keep his composure as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. "Admiral," said his aide, Commander Riska, "we're receiving panic reports from 17 different sectors. 3 species have gone into emergency lockdown." Zontar studied the scan data for the 100th time. The numbers still didn't make sense. "Have our scientists verified these readings?" "Yes, sir. Our best minds have confirmed everything. The humans have technology that's at least 1,000 years ahead of ours. Maybe more." Meanwhile, in the distant Krex Empire, War Chief Gorthan was having an emergency meeting with his generals. The Krex were the most warlike species in the galaxy, feared by almost everyone. But the scan data from the human ship had shaken even them. "My lord," said General Vextar, "our war computers have analyzed the human weapons. A single one of their ships could destroy our entire battle fleet." Gorthan slammed his massive fist on the table. "Impossible. The Krex Empire has the strongest military in the galaxy." "Not anymore, my lord. Look at these numbers." General Vextar brought up a holographic display. "Their kinetic weapons fire projectiles faster than anything we've ever seen. Our armor would be like paper to them." "What about our plasma cannons?" "Useless, sir. Their shields can absorb energy levels that would power our entire homeworld for a year." Gorthan was quiet for a long moment. The Krex had conquered dozens of worlds through superior firepower. Now they had found a species that made them look like children with toys. "Begin emergency evacuation of our border worlds. If these humans are expanding their territory, we need to be ready to retreat." On the crystal world of Ethereal Prime, the collective mind was experiencing something it hadn't felt in thousands of years: fear. The Ethereals were beings of pure energy who could combine their consciousness into a single, incredibly intelligent entity. They had always believed they were the most advanced species in the galaxy. "The scan data is confirmed," the collective mind spoke through its primary avatar. "These humans possess technology that defies our understanding of physics." "Should we attempt contact?" asked one of the individual ethereals. "No. Their biological scans show they are predators. Apex predators. Contact with such beings could result in our extinction." Far away on Earth, President Yunji was having a very different kind of meeting. She sat in the Oval Office with her defense counsel, completely unaware of the panic spreading through the galaxy. "Ma'am," said General Jae-sung, "we've received a message from Captain Hyunwoo on the Iron Resolve. They've made contact with an alien species." President Yunji leaned forward in her chair. "This is wonderful news. How did it go?" "Well, ma'am, the aliens seem cautious. They've been scanning the Iron Resolve for several hours but haven't responded to our communication attempts." "Maybe they're just being careful," suggested Admiral Yoon Seok, the head of the Colonial Defense Force. "First contact is a big deal for them, too." General Jae-sung nodded. "Captain Hyunwoo is following first contact protocols. He's being peaceful and patient. The aliens don't seem hostile, just curious." President Yunji smiled. "This could be the beginning of a new era for humanity. Think of what we could learn from them." None of them knew that at that very moment, alien civilizations across the galaxy were preparing for what they believed might be the end of everything they knew on the trading world of Nexus Station. The Federation Trade Council was holding an emergency session. The station, which normally buzzed with commerce from 100 different species, was eerily quiet as ships fled to safer areas. The outer rim trade routes are completely abandoned, reported Trade Minister Colvin. No one wants to risk encountering more humans. Have we lost contact with any other ship? Asked the council leader. Not yet, but 17 merchant fleets have changed course to avoid human space. We're looking at massive economic losses if this continues. Back on the Iron Resolve, the human crew was going about their normal duties, completely oblivious to the chaos they had caused. In the ship's recreation area, several crew members were playing cards while others watched a movie. Engineering specialist Won Shik was in the engine room, performing routine maintenance on the fusion reactor. Hey Kyung-soo, he called to a nearby technician. Have you heard anything new about those aliens? Pilot Kyung-soo looked up from the fighter drone he was checking. Not much. The captain says they're still just sitting out there scanning us. Weird, right? Maybe they're trying to figure out how to talk to us, suggested Medical Officer Hana as she walked past carrying medical supplies. Different species might communicate in completely different ways. Chef Min-ho poked his head out of the galley. I made extra food for lunch just in case they want to come aboard. First contact should include good food, don't you think? The humans laughed at Min-ho's suggestion, not knowing that the mere thought of aliens boarding their ship was causing nightmares across the galaxy. On the Nexari homeworld, the planetary government had called an emergency session. The usually peaceful Nexari were known for their advanced science and calm diplomacy, but the scan data had shaken them to their core. Citizens, announced Prime Minister Yelnash through the planetary communication system, we have discovered a new species that possesses technology far beyond our own. As a precaution, we are activating defensive protocols and beginning evacuation procedures for our outer colonies. Similar announcements were being made on hundreds of worlds. Ancient species that had hidden from galactic affairs for centuries were awakening their defenses. The peaceful Zenith Confederation began moving their mobile worlds to deep space. The mysterious Echo Syndicate vanished entirely, retreating to dimensions unknown. On a small research station near the galactic core, Dr. Velkari, the galaxy's leading expert on extinct civilizations, was studying the human scan data with growing dread. These readings, she muttered to herself, they match the theoretical predictions for the predecessor race. The predecessors were a legendary species that had supposedly existed millions of years ago. They were said to have technology so advanced that they could reshape reality itself. Most scientists thought they were just myths. But if the humans are related to the predecessors, Dr. Velkari continued, then the galaxy is in more danger than anyone realizes. Back on the Serenity's edge, Commander Velthar was trying to maintain his composure as he watched the human ship. Every few minutes, his communications officer reported new emergency messages from across the galaxy. Commander, said Science Officer Kethara, I'm detecting multiple hyperspace signatures, big ones. How many? I count. Oh no. Sir, there's a massive fleet jumping into the system. At least 200 ships. Velthar felt his skin turn the deep blue of terror. Are they Federation ships? Yes, sir. I'm reading signatures from the Krex Empire, the Nexari fleet, the Ethereal Collective, and dozens of other species. Sir, I think they're here to stop the humans. On the Iron Resolve, Lieutenant So Young was running her routine sensor sweeps when her instruments lit up like a festival. Captain, she called out urgently, we have multiple contacts entering the system, large contacts. Captain Hyunwoo rushed to her station. How many? I'm reading over 200 ships, sir. They're taking positions around us. So Young's voice was calm, but there was concern in her eyes. Captain, I think we're surrounded. Captain Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Iron Resolve, watching as more and more alien ships appeared on the sensors. What had started as a peaceful first contact was quickly becoming something much more serious. So Young, give me a full tactical report, he ordered. Lieutenant So Young's fingers moved quickly over her console. Sir, I count 212 ships total. They're forming a sphere around us, keeping their distance at about 50,000 kilometers. What types of ships? Mixed fleet, sir. I see battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and several ship types I don't recognize. They're all from different species based on the hull designs. Navigator Taemin looked up from his station. Captain, they're not moving to attack positions. It looks more like, well, like they're afraid to get too close. Communications Officer Ji Hai was working frantically at her station. Sir, I'm picking up thousands of communication signals between the alien ships. They're using encrypted channels, so I can't understand what they're saying. But there's a lot of chatter. Keep trying to establish contact, Hyunwoo ordered. Try all frequencies. Use every first contact protocol we have. Linguist Subin had been working for hours to decode the alien communications. Captain, I'm starting to pick up some patterns. In their language, it's very complex, but I think I can establish basic communication soon. Engineering Specialist Won Shik called up from the engine room. Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildups from multiple sources around the system. These ships are powering up their weapons. Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. 200 alien ships with weapons powered up did not sound like a peaceful first contact scenario. Are we in immediate danger? Not yet, sir. They're not targeting us specifically, but they're definitely ready for a fight. On the Federation, Command Ship Eternal Vigilance War Admiral Thexanor was coordinating the largest military operation in galactic history. The massive Caraxian had commanded fleets for over 40 years, but he had never faced anything like this. Admiral, said his tactical officer, all ships are in position. We have the human vessel completely surrounded. Thexanor studied the tactical display. The human ship sat in the center of the formation like a small moon surrounded by angry stars. What's our total firepower? Enough to destroy a planet, sir. If we focus all weapons on the human ship simultaneously, nothing could survive. And what are the chances of our success, based on the scan data? The tactical officer was quiet for a moment. Honestly, sir, the computer estimates our chances at less than 5%. Their technology is just too advanced. Thexanor nodded grimly. He had expected that answer. But if we don't try, they might expand their territory and destroy us anyway. At least this way, we have a chance. Back on the Iron Resolve, the crew was beginning to realize that their situation had become very dangerous very quickly. In the ship's mess hall, several crew members were discussing the alien fleet. 200 ships, said pilot Kyung-soo, shaking his head. That's the biggest fleet in human history right there. Medical Officer Hana looked worried. Why would they bring so many ships? We're just one battleship. Maybe they're scared, suggested Chef Minho. I mean, they've never seen humans before. They might think we're dangerous. Engineering Specialist Won Shik laughed. Dangerous? We haven't even fired a shot. We've been nothing but peaceful. What Won Shik didn't know was that the alien fleet had studied every detail of the Iron Resolve's weapon systems. To them, the human ship wasn't just dangerous, it was the most terrifying weapon they had ever encountered. On the bridge, Captain Hyunwoo was getting updates from across the ship. First Officer Bo Ram was coordinating with all departments to make sure they were ready for whatever might happen. Captain, said Bo Ram, all departments report ready. But sir, the crew is getting nervous. They want to know if we're going to fight. We're not here to fight, Hyunwoo replied firmly. We're here to make friends. But if they force us to defend ourselves... He left the sentence unfinished. Weapons Officer Da-un looked up from her station. Sir, if it comes to combat, we're ready. All weapon systems are functioning perfectly. Our railguns are loaded and our missile tubes are armed. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Hyunwoo said. But on the alien command ship, War Admiral Thexanor was making a very different decision. He had received reports from across the galaxy about the panic caused by the human discovery. Entire species were fleeing their homeworlds. Trade had stopped. The galactic economy was collapsing. Admiral, said his communications officer, we're receiving messages from over 50 worlds all asking the same question. When are we going to stop the humans? Thexanor looked at the tactical display again. The human ship looked so small compared to his massive fleet, but he knew that appearances could be deceiving. According to the scan data, that small ship could destroy his entire fleet without working up a sweat. Sir, said his science advisor, Our best analysis suggests that the humans are a pre-warp species that somehow acquired advanced technology. They might not even know how dangerous they are. Pre-warp. Thexanor was surprised. But their ship has faster-than-light capabilities. Yes, sir. But their communication attempts are very primitive. They're using basic mathematics and simple pictures. If they were truly advanced, they would have more sophisticated contact protocols. This gave Thexanor an idea. Maybe the humans weren't intentionally threatening. Maybe they were just ignorant of their own power. Open a channel to the human ship. Sir? I'm going to try talking to them before we start shooting. On the Iron Resolve, Communications Officer HFY suddenly got excited. Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. It's directed at us specifically. Put it on screen, Hyunwoo ordered. The main view screen flickered, and then showed the bridge of the alien command ship. A large, imposing figure appeared on screen. War Admiral Thexanor looked directly at the camera, his expression serious but not hostile. Human vessel, Thexanor said in heavily accented but understandable English. I am War Admiral Thexanor of the Galactic Federation. Fleet, we need to talk. Captain Hyunwoo stepped forward. Admiral Thexanor, I am Captain Hyunwoo of the Earthship Iron Resolve. We are honored to make contact with your Federation. Captain Hyunwoo, Thexanor continued, your ship has caused great concern throughout the galaxy. Our scans show that you possess technology far beyond anything we have ever seen. We need to understand your intentions. Hyunwoo was confused. Our intentions? We're explorers, Admiral. We came here seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent species. Peaceful? Thexanor seemed surprised. Captain, your ship is armed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Your technology is so advanced that our best scientists cannot understand it. How can you claim to be peaceful? Admiral, our weapons are defensive only. We have no intention of attacking anyone. We simply want to learn about other species and perhaps establish trade and friendship. Thexanor studied the human captains. Humans were very hard to read compared to most species. But Thexanor thought he detected honesty in Hyunwoo's voice. Captain, Thexanor said slowly, I want to believe you. But your ship represents a level of technology that could threaten the entire galaxy. How can we be sure you're telling the truth? Before Hyunwoo could answer, Tactical Officer So Young called out urgently. Captain, multiple weapon locks detected. The entire alien fleet is targeting us. On the alien command ship, the tactical officer was reporting the same thing. Admiral, all ships report weapons charged and ready. Target locks confirmed on the human vessel. Thexanor made the hardest decision of his military career. All ships prepare to fire on my command. The stage was set for the most lopsided battle in galactic history. The space around the Iron Resolve filled with the deadly glow of charging weapons. 212 alien ships powered up their most devastating armaments, preparing to unleash destruction that could turn a planet into dust. On the Federation, Command Ship War Admiral Thexanor gave his final order. All ships open fire. Target the human vessel. Fire everything you have. The alien fleet erupted in a symphony of destruction. Plasma cannons that could melt through asteroids discharged their fury. Antimatter torpedoes capable of cracking moons streaked through space. Quantum disruptors that could tear apart molecular bonds fired their invisible beams of death. Energy weapons that had conquered 100 worlds unleashed their power all at once. The combined firepower was beyond imagination. It was enough energy to destroy every city on Earth 10 times over. The very fabric of space seemed to bend under the assault as thousands of weapons fired simultaneously at the lone human battleship. On the Iron Resolve, alarms blared throughout the ship as the massive energy wave approached them. Tactical Officer So Young watched her instruments with professional calm, even as death approached at the speed of light. Impact in 3 seconds, she announced. Shields at maximum power. Captain Hyunwoo gripped his command chair as the bridge lights dimmed slightly. The ship's fusion reactor automatically redirected power to the defensive systems, preparing for the most massive attack any human ship had ever faced. 2 seconds, So Young continued. All crew, brace for impact. The energy wave hit the Iron Resolve like an angry ocean crashing against a lighthouse. The space around the ship exploded in a brilliant display of colors as plasma, antimatter, and exotic energies struck the human vessel's shields. The light was so bright that it could be seen from other star systems. For 10 full seconds, the alien fleet poured everything they had into destroying the human ship. The energy levels were so massive that nearby asteroids were vaporized just from the spillover. Space itself seemed to scream under the assault. Then slowly the firing stopped. The alien weapons had exhausted their energy, and the fleet waited to see the results of their devastating attack. War Admiral Thexanor stared at his tactical display, waiting for confirmation that the human ship had been destroyed. Surely nothing could survive such an attack. But as the energy waves faded and the sensors cleared, his worst fears were confirmed. The Iron Resolve sat exactly where it had been before, completely undamaged. Not even a scratch marked its hull. On the human ship, So Young checked her instruments and made her report in the same calm voice she always used. "Captain, shields holding at 98%. Minor power drain from the alien attack." Captain Hyunwoo blinked in surprise. 98%, that's all? "Yes, sir. Their weapons created a nice light show, but they didn't have enough power to seriously damage our shields." Chief Engineer Dong Hyun's voice came over the communication system. "Captain, that was the most pathetic attack I've ever seen. My grandmother could hit harder with a slingshot." The bridge crew actually laughed at Dong Hyun's comment. To them, the alien attack had been more like fireworks than warfare. But on the alien command ship, panic was setting in. Thexanor stared at his instruments in disbelief. "Tactical, give me a damage report on the human vessel." "Sir," his tactical officer said with a shaking voice, "sensors show 0 damage. Their shields absorbed our entire attack without any significant drain." "That's impossible. Calculate our total energy output." The tactical officer worked frantically at his console. "Sir, we fired enough energy to destroy a small moon. The human ship absorbed it all like it was nothing." Around the alien fleet, similar conversations were happening on every ship. Weapons. Officers were checking their systems, convinced that their equipment had malfunctioned. Science officers were running diagnostics, unable to believe their sensor readings. On the Krek's battleship Doom's Edge, War Chief Gorthon was having his own moment of terror. "Did our plasma cannons even fire?" "Yes, my lord," replied his gunner. "Direct hit, no effect." "Impossible. Our plasma cannons can melt through neutronium." "My lord, their shields are made of something we don't understand. Our weapons might as well be throwing rocks." Captain Hyunwoo stood up from his command chair and walked to the main view screen. He could see the alien fleet spread out around them, their weapons still glowing but no longer firing. "Communications, open a channel to the alien fleet," he ordered. Ji-Hai worked quickly at her station. "Channel open, sir." Hyunwoo's voice was calm but firm as he addressed the entire alien fleet. "Attention alien vessels. You have attacked us without warning or provocation. We have defended ourselves successfully. We do not wish to fight, but we will if you force us to." On every alien ship, the captain's words sent chills down their spines. The humans had just shrugged off the most powerful attack in galactic history, and now they were threatening to fight back. War Admiral Thexanor realized that his fleet had just made the worst mistake in military history. They had attacked a species so advanced that their most powerful weapons were like toys to them. "All ships," he broadcast to his fleet, "do not fire again. Repeat, do not fire." But Captain Hyunwoo was not finished talking. "You have shown us that you are willing to use violence against peaceful explorers. We hoped to make friends today, but you have chosen to make enemies instead." On the Iron Resolve, Weapons Officer Dayun looked up from her station. "Captain, shall I return fire?" Hyunwoo was quiet for a moment, thinking carefully. The alien fleet had attacked them without warning, but he still hoped to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. "Dayun, fire a warning shot. 1 railgun round targeted at empty space. Show them what our weapons can do." "Yes, sir." Dayun targeted a large asteroid about 1,000 kilometers away from the alien fleet. It was a rock roughly the size of a city, floating harmlessly in space. "Railgun 1 firing." she announced. The Iron Resolve's main railgun discharged with barely a whisper. The tungsten penetrator accelerated to 15% of light speed in less than a second, crossing the distance to the asteroid almost instantly. The alien fleet watched in horror as the human projectile struck the asteroid. The rock didn't just break apart, it simply ceased to exist. The kinetic energy was so massive that every atom in the asteroid was converted to plasma in a split second. Where there had been a mountain-sized rock, now there was only empty space and a rapidly expanding cloud of superheated gas. "Dear gods," whispered Science Officer Cathara on the Serenity's edge. "They just vaporized an asteroid with a single shot." War Admiral Thexanor felt his blood turn to ice. The human warning shot had more power than his entire fleet's main guns combined. Captain Hyunwoo's voice came over the communications again. "That was one shot from one of our smaller weapons. We have 600 similar weapons on this ship, plus our main guns, which are considerably more powerful." The math was simple and terrifying. If the humans had 600 weapons like the one they had just demonstrated, they could destroy his entire fleet 6 times over. But Hyunwoo wasn't finished. "We also have fighter craft aboard this ship. Each one is faster and more heavily armed than your best interceptors." Pilot Kyung-soo, who was manning one of the ship's fighter drones from the hangar bay, requested permission to launch. "Captain, shall I deploy a fighter wing to show them what we can do?" "Negative, Kyung-soo," Hyunwoo replied. "We're not here to exterminate them. We're here to make a point." The alien fleet was in complete chaos. On ship after ship, crews were demanding permission to retreat. Some ships were already powering up their faster-than-light drives, preparing to flee the system. War Admiral Thexanor realized that he had 2 choices: order a retreat and admit that the Federation was helpless against the humans, or continue fighting and watch his entire fleet get destroyed. The choice was obvious, but it was the most humiliating moment of his long military career. "All ships," he broadcast with a heavy heart, "begin emergency retreat procedures. Execute jump to hyperspace on my command." But before he could give the final order, Captain Hyunwoo's voice came over the communications one more time. "Admiral Thexanor, we do not want to fight you. We came here seeking peace and we still hope to achieve it. But if you ever attack us again, we will defend ourselves with our full capabilities. Do you understand?" Thexanor understood perfectly. The humans could have destroyed his entire fleet in seconds, but they had chosen mercy instead. It was a lesson he would never forget. "I understand, Captain Hyunwoo," he replied. "The Federation will not attack you again." The crisis was over, but the galaxy would never be the same. The humans had revealed their true power, and everyone now knew that humanity was the apex species among the stars.